Mr. Rishikant Singh, Ms. Ruby Chadha, Ms. Stacy Walia, Ms. Ritika Batra, Ms. Ari Haryani, Mr. Naite, Mr. Rao, and Mr. Mahapatra. On behalf of the people of Greater Godbridge, we would like to thank the Honorable Consulate General Ambassador, Mr. Dnyaneshwar, Mulay, and his department for taking the initiative to conduct this outreach program. I would like to invite one of the organizers, Mr. Pramit Makure, to introduce our Honorable Consul General. Pramit ji is involved in information technology projects for a large population in India and emerging markets, a digital literacy international program whose patron is the Speaker of the Indian Parliament, and also e-Kisan and e-Healthcare project. He was one of the organizers for the famous Madison Square Garden event. He is Vice President International Region for the Computer Society of India that has more than 105,000 members. He is the board member of Global Indian Business Council and involved in many social charitable organizations and activities. Mr. Pramanji.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Honorable Consul General Dnyaneshwar, Deputy Consul General Dr. Mahapatra, distinguished delegates, and dear friends. It's a privilege to introduce you to a role model of note, a man of distinction who is both a diplomat and an artist, one of the highest ranking Indian officials in America. Friends, let me introduce a highly distinguished man, Honorable Consul General, Ambassador of India in New York, Mr. Dnyaneshwar Mulay. Former High Commissioner of India in Maldives. From his simple beginning in the village in Kolhapur district, he has risen to the high position of High Commissioner of Maldives and then Consul General of India in New York. This journey has seen a number of milestones. He became the first student from a rural area to win the Jagannath Dnyaneshwar State Award. He is also the winner of Peter Alvarez Medal for topping the Mumbai University during his post-graduation in personal management. His long and distinguished career in the civil services had begun with serving as a deputy collector in Pune. He then joined the Indian Foreign Services in 1983. He served as a High Commissioner of India to Maldives from April 2009 to March 2013, where he is accredited with taking the Indo-Maldivian relationship to a new level and steering it successfully through the difficult transfer of power. After joining the consulate in New York, he started many initiatives of outreach to the Indian diaspora as well as the mainstream American society. The event's focus on Indian state, titled India State by State, is extremely well received by everyone. As we all know, he is also the inspiration behind many social educational projects including Balodyan, an orphanage in his native village, and Dnyaneshwar Mulay Education Society in Pune, which has embarked in the field of education with innovative concepts of global education. Well, having said that about his public life, there is more to him than meets the eye. He is a well-known writer, having written over 15 books that have been translated in Arabic, Urdu, Kannada, Hindi, and many other languages. His original writings in Marathi have a large following, especially among youth in Maharashtra, who found it highly inspiring. He has won many awards, including the Maharashtra State and Hindi Sahitya Academy at Delhi. His book, Mati, Pankh and Akash, has become a very important for the young generation of Maharashtra. This book has included in the curriculum for BA students by the North Maharashtra University. Russia, Navya Dishanche Amantran. That book on Russia has become a must-read for anybody studying the transformation of USSR to Russia. He is also very much interested in photography. Well, it's interesting that a diplomat shows his involvement in a country through a hobby. 60 color photographs of Moscow shot by him was on display at the Jawaharlal Nehru Cultural University. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sure you will agree that we indeed are privileged to have him with us, who is a class apart in every endeavor he embarks on, for hosting this prestigious outreach program. Please join me in welcoming
It must be quite boring to listen to all those details. I tell them in the US you should only say that he's the only serving diplomat who has appeared on the Jon Stewart show. And that's enough. And the rest is taken care of. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be with you this evening. It's a unique evening, and we're very proud and privileged to be part of this. We call it outreach, and the purpose is to reach out. Generally, Consulate is based in New York, and my 10 states are not necessarily inside New York. They are naturally spread, from Vermont to Massachusetts to Philadelphia to so many different regions. So, how to go to the people? How to convey the message? We are at a stage where our country is doing extremely well. It's going to surpass the growth rate of the China very soon, maybe in a year or two. We have a Prime Minister and a government which is full of enthusiasm, ideas and vision to take forward the country. The limited vision that we had in the past, that we should be saying this and that, has changed to a thinking that India should really now take a leadership role in the world. Rather than being part of this group or that group, we should provide a new vision to the world. Simultaneously, there is a new enthusiasm and vigor to our relationship with the US. You must have seen that, felt that also. Whether it is Madison Square Garden address of our Prime Minister to a 20,000 packed audience. It's a rare feat for any head of state or head of government to have that kind of audience in a foreign country, certainly in a place like New York. That is not the only thing. Then we have had a very successful his visit, by his visit to DC, very successful discussions. And then we had a return visit of President Obama, the only president to have visited during his presidency twice, India. And he was also the first president to be the chief guest at the Republic Day. So, which is, you must have seen the parade. It's kind of it's the annual, most important annual event in India. This is just symbolic of the relationship. Underlying currents are so many, including powerful diaspora. We have 3 million strong diaspora now. So we are the 1% of this country. And that's a very strong statement. 1%, most educated community in this country, most prosperous community in this country, perhaps most disciplined and law-abiding community in this country. And you have acquired such a status, you have acquired such an important role in this country, be it in Microsoft or PepsiCo or MasterCard, but also in universities, in media, name it, and in businesses, everywhere, Indians. I do have a lot of interaction with the Wall Street people in New York, and you see a couple of CEOs now, but what I see is the second rung and third rung in these institutions. It's full of Indians doing extremely well. And what it really means to me is, in the next 10 to 15 years, this crowd is coming to the fore on the top. And you will see a plethora of Indian CEOs coming. Now, there starts the problem. It's a very good situation. How can these people, so powerful, so empowered, how can they relate themselves to India? They go so far away in pursuing their interest in the US, pursuing their career in their interest, that besides the emotional core that they have, they sometimes forget as to how to relate, how to give back. Particularly now, when there is every possibility that you will be, wanting to give back, and India is in a position to receive you with much more vigor. There was a time when India did not pay much attention to the diaspora. Part of the reason was that India itself was developing. We had just become independent and we had issues that are very difficult to understand now, particularly by an outsider. There were 550 states that had to be united, harmonized. People of different cultures, heritage, history, traditions, fashions, costumes, all to be taken into this Ratha Yatra called democracy. It's not as simple a task as we might feel. India is really, in that sense, a unique country. There is a democracy in the US, all right. But Indian democracy, I would feel, has a special significance for the sheer diversity of languages, of people, of ethnicity. Really, it's in India is the old USA. In that sense, for 5,000 years, we have been evolving as our own kind of America in that country. And it's a country has been with open borders. Now, how can we take this brand India to the most advanced democracy of America? That is the main purpose of this discourse and outreach. How do we do that? Broadly, we can say that we have three main functions in front of our eyes, before us. Three main tasks. One is what I have been telling since yesterday to the governor, the mayor, and other important dignitaries here. Please talk more about India. India deserves a better attention in this country. Indian people, the community which is doing so well and contributing to this economy, it requires to be mentioned. If the governor mentions, if the mayor mentions, if the politicians mention here, automatically our stock will rise. So the first and foremost task is how to empower the community more and more so that they do well, irrespective of whether they are Indian citizens or the US citizens. They do well. They are good citizens of this country, they are good residents of this country. How do we, our communities are generally divided. It's very difficult and we feel it every day. While we talk of the greatness of the community, we also see the simmering fights within and the fights for position and elections. And there might be 10 members, but there will be 5 office bearers. That's it. So how to empower, how to harmonize the community? I'm not saying that we all should look alike. Then we will become robots. The idea is not to become robots, but while retaining our creativity, how to maximize our output in terms of empowering the community. How to take care of the elements that are not as prosperous. How to take care of those people who have just come from India and facing difficulties, including the students, the labor class, the traffic people, the oppressed women, abused women. It's a growing problem. We need to recognize the problems within and address. So these are the issues. So topmost task would be how to empower the community. Number 2 is, what role do you envision for yourself in building relationship between India and US? You are in a particular place, India is in a particular place, and the relationship is growing. We have 40 government-to-government task forces. We have cooperation from nuclear to space to cyber security to terrorism, you name it. And we have good relations with the country. There is no reason why each of you cannot join in some way in strengthening this relationship. So there is a need for a lot of churning, a lot of introspection, a lot of bouncing of ideas, and joining this momentum, great momentum that our leaders have created. Relationship cannot grow in DC alone. It will grow in each place. And all of you are a very, very important element in that relationship. So you have to see how do you participate in building this relationship further. And this kind of relationship is not necessarily only for the benefit of India. It's not mutual benefit. You are staying here, you must live honorably, and you do everything possible for this country. And the third task is that what are you going to do? In what way you want to contribute to India's development? There are three distinct tasks that we have, and each of us can do something. People often come and ask me, what can I do for you? I said, you can do a lot. How can I do for you? And how can I said, forget the India the day you left. That has changed a lot. It's not the same India. India has really, in the last 20 years particularly, it's a different place altogether. But you can do a lot. Go to the village that you come from. Because India doesn't necessarily need money. It needs money. Every country needs money. India is invested about 11 billion in the United States. And in United States, investments in India amount to 28 billion US. So it's not that US doesn't require investments. It's encouraging investments from India. And so are we. So how you could go to your village, you don't know anybody in your village, everybody has left, perhaps parents after old age have passed away. How do we connect? You have some few friends even now, get back to them, ask them what is that they are doing and how is it that, is there any idea that you can pursue? Is there any idea that you have here which you want to implant? Because India requires creative thinking now, unleashing its untapped potential. Talent is enormous, but it is constrained. It needs to be opened up. Mind is a typical culture of thinking freely about yourself, about the society, about the country that you see in the universities of US. That needs to be taken to it. The concepts. Bring whether it is the sewage system or education system, whether it is urban development or social sector issues, ideas need to be